I think we are trying to please everyone, and when we are trying to please everyone, it's what we call in Swedish, it's mellanmjölk. So, and we don't change anything. When we create new areas, it's basically not that much better than the last one we made. It's basically the same. We maybe make small changes, make it a little bit better, but not the big changes.
Thank you so much for listening to Urbanistica podcast. I am Mustafa Sharif, an urban planner, and you're more than welcome to join my big journey of exploring the making of smarter and more livable cities. Don't forget to follow Instagram account to see the stories behind the scenes, and also subscribe the YouTube channel to see the live talks. Let's get in touch on LinkedIn, share your reflections with us, with Urbanistica community. Recommend the podcast to people you think are interested in Urbanistica topics. Are you ready for a new episode? Let's go for it. Today we have one more new story from H22, the making of smarter city in Helsingborg, Sweden. I have the pleasure to welcome Lisa Olsson to Urbanistica podcast. Hey, and welcome.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. My pleasure. So how are you doing, Lisa?
I'm doing just fine. It's Friday, preparing for a bit of Halloween celebrating today. So everything is just fine.
Nice. And I see you're working from home as well, right?
Yeah, actually, I most oftenly don't work from home, but today it's autumn break for my kids, so that's why I'm home today.
Yeah. It's a good reason to be at home.
Yeah.
So, Lisa, you are our storyteller. The microphone is yours. The stage is yours. How would you like to introduce yourself? And please tell us, what are you passionate about?
Oh, what should I say? I'm Lisa Olsson, as you said. I live outside of the city in a small fishing village that's called Rå. I live here with my husband and 2 kids. We'd say that I'm passionate about at least 2 things, probably much more, but
at least
2 things. And one is to solve problems, I would say. And the other thing, everyone that knows me knows that I'm also passionate about football.
Cool. So which team do you support?
I support, of course, my local team where I'm a coach, and my husband is also a coach. It's Rå EF.
Nice.
Yeah. And on a more international level, it's unfortunately today, because we lost yesterday, it's Tottenham.
Oh, yeah. You're playing on the Europa League.
Yeah, didn't go so well, you could say.
Yeah, but let's cross finger for the next match. Well, Lisa, what are you working with now at Helsingborg municipality?
I'm working as head of innovation in the municipality, and that means that I'm trying to help the city to develop the right structure and culture and capabilities to be successful in their innovation work. That's the short version, at least.
Yeah. And soon we will talk more about the long version and the details. Before we start, I would love to ask you, how do you define innovation?
Innovation is new and better ways of meeting needs, I would say. It's about trying things that we haven't tried before. And that means also that we don't know if it creates value until we have tried it. And it is an innovation when it creates value.
How big is your team now and at the municipality, and what are exactly the tasks that you're working with or the project?
I would say that the team is the whole city and its companies.
Wow.
I would say that everyone now is transforming into an organization that works with innovation. We haven't done that yet before in that way, and now we are transforming into an organization that really contains innovation work as well. But if you refer to my team, so to speak, then we are about 30 people sitting at HBG Works. That is a meeting place. It's an innovation hub and accelerator for the municipality, where the rest of the city can come and develop their ideas, test their ideas, and if they work, then you get the help to scale it as well.
Mm. And this innovation work and organization, is it just started because of the H22 project or before?
It started before. It started a couple of years ago, where we did it in a much smaller way. We started something that's called Idéslussen, that helps everyone that had an idea to be able to try that idea, but it was in a much smaller scale than it is today. So H22 has really helped that journey. So this is, I mean, the whole city as a platform, H22 as a city event in a couple of years is one side of the coin, and the work to develop more innovation processes and structures internally is the other side of the coin, you could say, and both are needed.
So H22 project is a great push for innovation.
Yeah, it's a part of the project, I would say. Yeah, it's a necessity for the project.
Yeah. What kind of governance do we need in order to create a smart city in the short term and in the long term?
I think it's a matter of changing mindset, I would say, to go from having long-term planning and strategies to more of a mentality that says dare, test, act, and to create those structures where that is possible. So it's a whole shift, I would say. And maybe it sounds easy, but it's not. It requires a lot of work, and that's the journey we're on.
Tell me, how do you do that? How do you change the mindset in these long years? Many people listening and would love to get inspired by the journey you made in Helsingborg. So how can we change the mindset?
I think first of all, everyone needs to understand why we work with innovation, why it's important to work with innovation, and that I think that's crucial for everyone to understand, and that both the employees of the city but also the citizens. Why do we do this? What is it? And the whole reason and the background for it is that we radically need to change the way that we work, our own processes, and also the offer that we have to our citizens. We radically need to change those processes in some areas to be able to handle the future. And in some areas, we just need to take smaller steps, and in some areas, we need to take those radical steps. And the way to do that is to work with innovation. Because if we do things exactly the way that we do them today, the economy won't work in just a couple of years. So that's the first one. And when we all realize why this is so important, then we need to see, how do we do this? How do we create a structure? And we have kind of looked into it truly deeply and see the most successful organizations around the world, what have they done to be successful in innovation? And some of those things are the same. One thing is that they aim really high. They put up clear goals and aim really high. One thing is that they have freed resources and money to kind of earmarked money to set off to innovation work. And one thing, and maybe the most important one, is to work with the culture aspects of it, to change people's mindset. It's about having more courage, have the courage to test things. It's also to be more humble, I would say. If you are a leader, maybe you're not the best person to really, truly challenge the way that you work. So you need to be humble and maybe take a step back, and also be humble that if you try something out, then if it doesn't work, you need to quit doing that. When it comes to innovation, we need to try maybe hundreds of things, and it's perhaps only 10% of them that will truly create value. And that means we need to stop doing the other 90%. And then the culture also needs to be a truly collaborative culture, where we realize that we need to collaborate with the rest of the world and with our citizens, with the private sector, with the academia, and so on, if we're going to solve our problems. We can't do it alone. And then we also need to see the structures that we have when it comes to take decisions. When you work with innovation, you can't have really long pre-studies and steering committees that take decision once in a quarter or something like that. We need to have structures where the ones that are driving the innovation can take the decisions themselves. And the last one is that we need to have kind of a good ecosystem for innovation, where you can come, have an idea, elaborate on that idea, go further and test that idea in a small setting, so we don't waste so much money, but we need to try it for real and really truly challenge if it's creating value or not, and measure that. And if it creates value, then we need to have structures so we can scale it, because it's basically the second time you use something that you can truly call it an innovation.
Yeah, well, really great. Yeah, really great points. And my first question gonna be, that I have in mind, were people open when you start this on innovation journey, or they be like, oh, this is not gonna work? How was the reaction?
Of course, there are different kinds of reaction, but overall, I think it's an organization that is truly leaning forward, so to speak. We have a mentality in the city that's to dare and test and act, and I think that's quite broad in the organization. I have only been in the city for 1 year, so I'm surprised how lean forward everyone is and open to change. I've been in the private sector for many years, and it's been positive so far, really.
Yeah, it's great to hear. And you mentioned that you work with different stakeholders, the citizens, the businesses, the academia. How do you manage that, and how do you synchronize all these groups? Like, do you have an aim for each target?
I think we are on that journey at the moment, and H22 is a fantastic platform for that collaboration. The politicians in the city, they have pointed out some focus areas. They want to see a faster integration. They want to see an improved quality of life. They want to see improved safety in the city. And of course, we gather around those focus areas, but there are also other areas where we can collaborate. And at the moment now, we are looking into and actually explicitly put out those challenges so that everyone can gather around them. So that's actually the big thing right now, to work with that question.
Yeah, and how do you involve the citizen of Helsingborg in this innovation journey? How do you do that?
For me, it's a no-brainer, because everything we do needs to create value, and we don't know if anything creates value if we don't include the citizens. So in every aspect of our innovation initiatives, we need to have the citizens, because it's only them that can really help us to evaluate if it creates value or not. If it doesn't create value for the citizen, then we shouldn't do it, I think.
Of course, yeah, because then there is no point.
Then there is no point. So I mean, if we develop something for the schools, then we involve the students and the teachers and the parents. If we are doing something for the nursing homes for the elderly, then we need to involve them. So that's truly important for all of these processes to have that collaboration.
Yeah. And we hear a lot about creating value. So when you say value, what do you mean?
For every initiative that we start, we put up goals. When it comes to innovation, you don't know what you have to talk about potential of value because you don't know. You haven't tried it before.
Yeah.
You need to talk about potential of value. And you shouldn't go into initiative if you don't have some sort of an assumption of what that potential is. And we need to be transparent about that. Okay, if we do this initiative, we think that we will increase the safety for our citizens, and that, of course, that could be something that we could measure quantitatively. If we are, for example, we need to increase safety in a park, then we can measure how many people that will be in that park, and that's a quantitative measure. But we can also ask people how they feel about it before we did some sort of initiative and afterwards. So it's both qualitative measures and quantitative measures. I think that's the most important thing in this innovation work, is that we have an obligation to do good things. And we need to be transparent about that.
Yeah, maybe many of people working in the municipalities and listening to this story, and they're wondering that what if we don't have the resources to start this innovation journey? Like we don't have enough money, big teams, smart people. How do we start?
I think that you should start small with the culture. And one thing that I think is truly important is that the leaders, when someone has the courage to go to their manager and say that I have an idea, I think we should work differently, to don't, so to speak, don't measure what you think about the idea, instead measure the potential value of it. I think that's the first step, because today we're so quick saying that I don't like that idea.
Yeah,
we have
judging.
tried before. And instead keep those thoughts to yourself and think about, okay, if they are right, if this idea really works, what is the potential then? And just encourage them to dare and test and act. And that you can do in quite a small scale, I think.
So like step number one is just don't judge, but be more open to the idea and explore the potential side of it.
Yeah.
So this is the first step for the municipalities to start the journey.
Yeah. So and another thing is, of course, also to really the why, the purpose of it all. Because if people don't realize why we have to work differently, they won't do that. So we need to give them examples on why we have to do this. And those examples, I think, need to be really close to their groundwork, so to speak. And that's the way to get engagement from everyone.
Yeah. So we talked about how municipalities can start the journey, how you as a Helsingborg municipality collaborate with people. How is it with businesses? Are they open to invest in innovation together with the municipality?
I really think so. I can see major in the world right now. And if we look at Helsingborg, of course, H22 is a unique platform for us. We have about 70 partners at the moment, and they all of them want to help us to solve the big challenges that the world are facing. But I can also see those tendencies outside of Helsingborg, where big companies today, share data that doesn't just help themselves, but also helps the society, for example. So you can see examples of that everywhere, and that feels good, I think, because everyone realizes that we need to do our share.
talking about, you mentioned in your 4 points about like how Helsingborg get into this innovation journey. You mentioned that the people with innovation should make the decision, or
Yeah,
at least take the leads.
yeah.
Are we talking now about like flat organization, or how do you mean by this?
I mean that if we are going to succeed with this, we need to create a structure where the ones closest to the work are the ones who knows best about the needs. They have to be able to take decisions about the innovation. They have assumptions that we need to test. They can't go to kind of a management asking, okay, I want to test this assumption that I have. They need to be able to take those decisions themselves. And of course, they can't do it without a structure. So what we are trying to create is that they have an environment where they know that, okay, within this frame, I can take decisions and I can try out all the assumptions that I have. And if they work, we go further. If they don't work, we just shut it down. That's what we are trying to create. And that can be that person in the middle. That can be a social worker, or that could be someone working in preschool or caretaker or whatever.
Yeah. So to summarize, just leaving, like, how to say, the freedom to them to decide or to make the decision, because they are the closest one working with this project.
Yeah.
Mm. Lisa, as a chief innovation advisor and head of innovation, how do you imagine a smart city?
For me, a smart city is a thoughtful city that listens to the citizens and is adaptable to change. Yeah, I mean, this has changed over the years. I mean, a couple of years ago, everyone was talking about that a smart city was a connected city that had a lot of data taking the decision. And for me, that's just ecosystem around it. The main purpose of a smart city must be to be this thoughtful city that really listens to the needs of the citizens, and also is adaptable, because things changes so quickly at the moment. So we need to also be truly adaptable to change.
Mm. So for you, the people is on the top of the prior list.
Yeah, the needs. Yeah.
The needs of people, yeah. And what are the challenges that you're facing now in your innovation journey in Helsingborg?
I mean, it's a journey of change. In all those kinds of journeys, we have obstacles, and we need to address them and embrace them. And the obstacles is in people's minds, of course, but it's also a matter of legal matters and governmental matters and other things that kind of hinders innovation. But I like to see everything as possibilities. And we can't see them as only obstacles. We need to see them as an opportunity to change as well. And that's really what my job is about, to remove those obstacles along the way. Yeah.
So if you share with us, what are you working with now, like a project when you go to the office?
It's so many things at the moment. Crazy. But I think one of the most important things that I'm working on is to address the city's challenge in a more transparent way. I think if we're going to succeed with this journey, we need to collaborate much more. And to be able to do that, we need to address our biggest challenges. And those challenges shouldn't be, so to speak, silo challenges, because we're really good at looking at our different administrations and looking at their problems and issues. But when it comes to innovation, you shouldn't take organizational structures in consideration at all. You need to look at the needs of the citizens, and they truly doesn't care that we are 9 administrations in the municipality.
Yeah.
And that is a journey. And that's something that we're working really hard with at the moment.
But I imagine it's a lot of communication work in between in order to get the administration to the innovation. There should be so much communication within between the administration and with you.
It's a lot of communication. Yeah, it is. But yeah, it is maybe a bit more than I to be. That's also part of the journey when you work with change. You need to communicate. It's the people who is going to do it. So communication is important.
Yeah. Do you get this part of your football coaching within the innovation department?
Yeah, I think so, because I normally I say that the best leader course you could get is to be a football coach. When I have my 42 players
Wow.
with different personalities and backgrounds, I learn more handling them than I can do in any management or leader course that I attend to.
Well,
So I would say that's the best invested time I could ever imagine.
yeah, that's really smart. Well, thank you so much, Lisa. It was very inspiring to talk to you. Thank you so much for giving your time to record this episode.
Thank you.
So
Thank you
now,
for having me.
my pleasure. So if you take the time machine and you go back in time, and you are allowed to change one thing in our cities, what will you change?
The most obvious thing that I guess many people would say is that we have, when it comes to both cities and villages, we have kind of planned and created them around the cars. And now we are facing the consequences of that. So that's of course the most obvious answer, I think. And now we are moving ahead. We need to think differently in regards to that area. But I think one more internal question that I would like to address much more earlier is the processes that we have when we are doing city planning. It's quite silo-based, I think, and I'm a tough person to have in that kind of project, because I constantly ask the question, okay, are we doing this way because of some legal reason, or are we doing it like this because we have always done it like this? And the answer is quite often, okay, we have always done it like this. And I think we would benefit of doing the whole process quite differently. And innovation is not only to create more digital solutions or technical solutions. Innovation is also about processes. And when we do city planning, we should collaborate much more. We should set more common goals on what we really want to achieve, together with the entrepreneurs, together with the different administrations of the city and our companies and so on, and do it totally differently, I think.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it's the responsibility of the municipality to initiate this innovation mindset? Because I'm working as an urban planner, and from my side, I cannot really affect so much of the municipality work.
No, I truly think that it's up to everyone to act, but I can see your point. It's tough if the municipality is kind of a driver for this. And we're trying to look at those processes and really work differently in the future with the urban planning, because it is a collaboration project. And we really need to see what needs are we trying to fulfill, and together around those needs in a totally different way than we do today.
Yeah,
I believe. So we are the driver, but I think also it's everyone's obligation to push.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love it because also this podcast is from me as an urban planner to try to push people to think more open and innovative. So great words. And what if you go to the future and you will add one thing to our cities? What will you add?
I think it's the same thing that I said now. Common goals, I think, is important, and aim high. I don't think we aim high enough in our projects today. And if we're going to change things and truly change, I mean, the climate issue is a major one. And if we really want to change, then we need to have much clearer goals and higher goals.
Yeah. Why do you think we don't really aim high?
I think we are trying to please everyone, and when we are trying to please everyone, it's what we call in Swedish, it's mellanmjölk. So it's like the result is like, yeah. So, and we don't change anything when we create new areas. It's basically not that much better than the last one we made. It's basically the same. We maybe make small changes, make it a little bit better, but not the big changes. And that's when we are trying to please everyone, I think. And sometimes you can't please everyone.
Well, Lisa, with these powerful words, I would love to ask you, how would you like to summarize our talk, your reflections, and 3 takeaway messages to all the listeners?
3 takeaways from me is that as a personal level, I think everyone needs to take responsibility and act. You can do your share. So on a personal level, act and take responsibility, not only for yourself, but for a change to happen in a broader perspective. When it comes to leaders, I would say that lead by example in this journey, because people, they don't listen what you say, they see what you do. So lead by example. And when it comes to organizations, I would say aim high, set goals and aim high. If we're going to change things, we need to aim much higher. So that's 3 things.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I like that you address the points to different groups. Wonderful. So I need also 3 hashtags from you to the episode.
One is really tough, but necessary.
Which one is it?
That's COYS. And that stands for Come On You Spurs.
Okay, that's a new one for me. That's great.
You can Google it.
Yeah, I will.
Painful, but I really need to have it because I'm not happy today. Then secondly, I would like to have do good. I think everyone should try and do good.
Of course.
Yeah. And thirdly, of course, 822. I think it's a wonderful journey we have at the moment, and I'm so happy to be a small part of it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much. And what is going to be your next step for you?
Work-wise, I will work with the challenges of the city. And my goal is, and the city's goal is to be transparent about those this fall. So that's top priority at the moment.
Yeah. And how is it on the personal side and also on the football?
On the personal side, I'm going to go and bake some cookies for Halloween now.
Nice.
Scary cookies, hopefully. Football-wise, it's I'm a bit sad. It's the Corona times, so we had some tournaments coming up. I really understand why they have been shut down. So now it's all about training, and that's fun. That also, yeah.
Stay safe, and thank you so much again, Lisa, for the very, very inspiring conversation.
Thank you so much for having me.
So thank you so much for listening to Urbanistica podcast season number 2. I hope you enjoyed the episode, learned something new, and got inspired by the guest. And also please don't forget to share the episode with your friends, colleagues, and people you think they're interested in Urbanistica topic. Follow on Instagram account. You will see the stories behind the scenes before and after every episode we record in the podcast. And also don't forget to subscribe the YouTube channel to see the live talks and also to see the vlogs. If you have any feedback or you want to suggest a new topic or nominate a new guest, you can just reach out and write me. You can find me everywhere: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and also my email. So feel free to write me and share your thoughts with me. Thank you so much again for listening. I am Mustafa Sharif. Keep up the good work. Keep loving cities.